Hello, Gene OK Boomer here. Welcome to this week's vlog. I'm going to start out with a disclaimer that I occasionally give, which is to let everybody know or remind you if you've been visiting this. Well, if you've been visiting regularly, then you know this anyways, but I am a conservative. Always keep that in mind when you evaluate whatever I say. Now, the reason I give this disclaimer whenever I give it usually is, well, you can tell this is an opinion vlog, so you can tell by my opinion which way I swing politically. You know that I'm a conservative, but I especially want everybody to know when I say I have good news or I have bad news, because what I consider good news as a conservative is bad news to a liberal and vice versa. So I let everybody know whenever this occasion arises, because I have some very good news today. If you're a conservative, as I am, well, there's a saying that I don't remember who originated this quote, so I could give proper credit. It goes way back, but knowing that one is going to be hanged the next morning concentrates the mind wonderfully. Well, knowing, I guess, that that your party is going to get creamed in the upcoming midterms focuses or concentrates one's mind wonderfully if you're a Democratic politician, or even if you're a Republican. But we're talking about Democrats now, because they are, it looks like, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, and again, hopes, because I'm a conservative, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but it looks really good for Republicans going forward. I guess it's too bad that Breyer, the Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, that he succumbed to pressure and retired before Republicans could possibly or potentially take control of the Senate, in which case Ketanji Jackson would not be about to join the Supreme Court. It would have been someone else like Michelle Childs, who, by the way, is black too, so there's no racist thing in here. She would have sailed through the Senate, because even a Republican Senate, because she is a moderate from all reports. I didn't do a lot of research into it, but we have a real it looks like a radical now, but I want to keep an open mind, because it's worked the other way around, where we conservatives thought we were getting a conservative with Souter, David Souter, and he turned out to be completely the opposite. And Roberts, though not as bad from a conservative standpoint as Souter, he's still a disappointment, to me anyways, to this conservative. So you never know how she is going to rule. And there have been a lot of unanimous Supreme Court decisions lately. This is because partly, I'm sure, and others have said it, that it's because of these calls from Democrats, liberal, far-left Democrats, to pack the Supreme Court and change the direction of the court. So you're seeing a lot of these unanimous decisions. I think it's to send a signal that, well, you may not get your wish. Adding some more liberal justices won't change the court that much, but that's another vlog for another day. I'm just going to show you some headlines here, and then I'll discuss. So here's the first one. Moderate Dems warn emerging Iran nuke deal is, quote, unacceptable and deeply troubling, unquote, and, quote, insanity, unquote. Another headline, moderate Democrats join GOP Republican senators to back bill to delay end of Title 42 border expulsions. Now, if you don't know what that is, you should by now. It's been in the news a lot. But Title 42 was a bill that Trump used, one of his tools, to cut down on unlawful immigration, entry into this country by unlawful aliens, as I call it, unlawful aliens, because it has to do with COVID, coronavirus, the Wuhan, China virus, the Communist Party virus, whatever you want to call it. It was a tool that people who might, because of the dangers of COVID, to immediately send out of the country people with COVID or who might have COVID or whatever out of the country who have entered the country. But Joe Biden is going to, starting in May 1st, that goes away. Title 42 goes away, and it's estimated that the handful, 5,000 or whatever immigrant unlawful aliens coming across the border every day. These are the ones we know about, the ones who turn themselves in. There's another group called the gotaways, people who get away and never report to immigration officials. So they're probably drug dealers and MS-13 and criminals and other people who don't want to be discovered, because if they're not criminals, Biden has an open border policy for them, and they can stay in the country. So when this goes away, it's estimated that it's about 5,000, I think. I could be wrong on that figure, but the purported increase will be to 18,000 unlawful aliens coming into this country per day. There's no way that the border people, the border patrol agents, will be able to keep up with that size of an influx. They'll be spending all their time processing these people, and they probably won't be able to process all of them, so you're going to probably have a lot more of these gotaways. But they won't be able to enforce the border anymore. They just won't have the manpower to do it. And in fact, the Biden administration recognizes this and is calling for volunteers to come, civilian volunteers to come help at the border. But you can be sure, because it's Joe Biden and the Biden administration, it's not to help to free up the border patrol agents to turn back people, but it's to almost certainly to help the border patrol agents process more people and make it more efficient to bring more of these aliens, unlawful aliens, estimated 18,000 a day into the country. Anyways, so that's the moderate Democrats. They're joining, because a lot of these moderate Democrats, some of them are on the Texas border. They're in Texas, and there was one town, small city on the border, where a heavily Hispanic town, that McAllen, Texas, I believe is the name. I could be wrong on that, of the town, elected for the first time in decades a Republican mayor. And a lot of these Democratic senators could be there are no Democratic senators in Texas, but you have Democratic senators other parts of the country being hurt by this immigration issue. And then you have a lot of moderate Democratic Congress representatives who are being really hurt by this. And they could be, you have some people like Connor Lamb, Pennsylvania, who is not even going to, he's retiring. I think he might run for Senate, but he's retiring from the House. He was one of these so-called members of the so-called problem solvers caucus, claimed to be in 2018 to be moderate Democrats who would work with Republicans to solve problems. And as we conservatives said, that's complete nonsense. Even if they're sincere, the left has such strong control of the Democratic Party that moderates have no role. So you have moderate Democrats join GOP senators to back bill to delay end of Title 42 border expulsions. But look who else is coming out against this. Obama Homeland Secretary. Obama Homeland Secretary. In other words, the guy who was doing the job that Alejandro Mayorkas, the current head of Homeland Security, is not doing on purpose, because Biden wants these open borders. But you have, his name is Jeh Johnson. He was J-E-H, spelled not the initial or J-A-Y, but Jeh Johnson, Obama Homeland Secretary, the former Homeland Secretary, says end of Title 42 border policy, quote, big news, unquote, in Central America, quote, amplified by smugglers, unquote. And then little subheading here, quote, it's not sustainable for the Border Patrol and ICE to be able to track these people, unquote, Jeh Johnson said. So you see, you have this is a former Obama official coming out with the same idea, the same point that the Biden policies are wrong. They're harming the country, and they're harming, well, you can be sure it's harming Democrats. That's why they're saying these things. And that's why you see this. I put up this other headline here. This one, by the way, I linked to all of these, so you'll be able to read the articles for yourself. I'm just giving you the headlines and watch the videos, which is the case with Jeh Johnson. He was on Morning Joe, the Joe Scarborough MSNBC morning show, and that's where he made this statement, so you can watch the whole video for yourself. And then another one, this is really surprising, CBS News, and I want to give some credit to CBS News because they hired Catherine Herridge from Fox News, great investigative reporter, hired her from CBS, and one would have thought you'd be perfectly forgiven for thinking that Catherine Herridge, like other Fox News reporters and talking heads who have left Fox News to go to liberal stations because they are liberal themselves, and they were no longer comfortable in working on a conservative station, Fox News. So you'd be forgiven to think that it was the same case with Catherine Herridge, but it's not. She is doing the same investigative work that she did with Fox News. In other words, she's not afraid and not prevented from doing stories that hurt Democrats and help Republicans. And she doesn't filter the news to help the Democratic Party, as just about the rest of the liberal media, so-called mainstream media, do. So this is, well, here's the headline here, and again, this is a video, you can go watch it. Questions about business dealings of James Biden and Hunter Biden. So you're seeing all this reporting now on Joe Biden. So you see, on the one hand, you have, I guess you can call it a two-pronged attack. You have Democrats realizing, number one, how terrible President Biden is. Number two, how much he is hurting the Democratic Party as long as he is in office, and it puts him in a real pickle. So this is the enjoyable part. This is why I gave you the disclaimer at the beginning, because I'm really enjoying this, because the Democrats are in a real pickle, because they have to, it's obvious, all these reports, they want to damage Joe Biden or distance themselves from Joe Biden, or ideally get him out of office. But if that, which may happen anyways, because this is another vlog, I'm sure he's going to be impeached. And unlike with Donald Trump, these will not be sham impeachments. There is ample reason to impeach Joe Biden and remove him from office. Just his violation of, never mind failing to enforce the immigration laws, but actually violating them by not keeping these unlawful aliens on the border. When you saw 10,000, you saw these thousands of people under that traffic overpass, it looked really bad. So now he's just shipping them all over the country, right into the country, into various, even here in Tennessee where I am, and it's never mind a failure to enforce. It's not even, they're supposed to be kept in detention, these people, and the wire cages or whatever they were called that were so bad when Trump was president, and then they kind of looked the other way. The press did when Biden became president, and as they did when Obama was president, because he started under Obama. Anyhow, you can tell they desperately want to get rid of Joe Biden, but if they do, then next in line is Kamala Harris. They need a way to get rid of her too. If they could do that, then Nancy Pelosi becomes president, unless it's after November, and then the Speaker of the House, most likely Kevin McCarthy, it would be a Republican, if assuming, as seems probable, that the Republicans take over the House, and they might actually prefer that. They would prefer to have Kevin McCarthy in the White House, because then they have a Republican to demonize again in the White House. And who knows, maybe he would turn out to be so good a president that it would it would prevent their absolute worst nightmare, which would be for Donald Trump to become, as seems possible, president again if he runs again. And that gets me to why I'm doubly enjoying this. I wish there were popcorn futures, a contract. I would invest in it. I would buy popcorn futures because it looks really good. But talk about hoist by your own petard. This is the last headline for today. Arizona AG, Arizona Attorney General, reports, quote, serious vulnerabilities, unquote, in Maricopa County, quote, raise questions, unquote, about 2020 election. So YouTube, they'll take down this video. I'm just repeating here that the Arizona Attorney General is reporting serious vulnerabilities in Maricopa County. That was where the big, the cyber ninjas and that months-long audit, which is still not finished, by the way, but that's another, there's still the Splunk logs and the routers. That's still, those results have yet to be reported. But anyways, the point I'm making today is that if Trump had won, then in 2024, instead of potentially being the start of another Trump administration, it would be the end. He would be leaving office, and under term limits, he would never be able to run again. But instead, you have Joe Biden, which is one of the good things about him winning, by the way, because we can see how terrible the consequences have been by electing a left-wing government and electing a Democrat who claimed to be a moderate, and well, we saw what happened. Can you believe any Democratic candidate in the future? Maybe Joe Biden, Joe Manchin, but even then, the left has such control over the Democratic Party. You don't want the Democrats in power. I think the Democrats are going to have a very tough time electing another Democratic president in the future, and that's another thing that I am really enjoying. I'm really enjoying knowing that I say, hey, Democrats, if you're a liberal watching this, if you hadn't pulled all the stunts that you pulled, well, I'm always saying, okay, again, I'm not questioning the election. All I'm saying, my liberal friends, that if Trump had been elected, if in 2020, then he would be leaving office forever in 2024. But instead, he may be starting office, and he will be coming in probably with a big majority in the House and possibly in the Senate too. The Senate is more iffy, but there's a chance for the Republicans to win the Senate too. And then I think Trump, he will have coattails, and that because Biden will still be president, he will still be able to do some damage, and I am sure that the Republicans will do well in 2024 too. And just so my liberal friends, imagine the Well, imagine, I'm going to dream, let me dream. Imagine a a substantial Republican majority in the House and a filibuster-proof Senate, filibuster-proof Republican Senate, and a President, Donald J. Trump. Think about that. And finally, surprise, surprise, a special treat, which actually may not be that much of a surprise because the two little videos I'm going to show you have actually been shown pretty widely, at least in the conservative media. Maybe it'll be a revelation to our liberal friends. Obama was at the White House the other day. Biden invited Obama to the White House to, for some strange reason, celebrate the 12th anniversary of Obamacare. The reason it's so odd, to me anyways, is, well, anniversaries are usually, for these kinds of things, would be, say, a 10th anniversary or a 20th anniversary, an even number. So what's so special about the 12th anniversary? And obviously, it's not to celebrate Obamacare, it's to, well, to help Joe Biden, to, I guess, let some of the, or somehow get some of the Obama magic to, or quote unquote magic, he never impressed me that much, but anyways, to somehow help, at least among Democrats, help Joe Biden among Democrats and maybe the public as well. So he invited Obama. But you can see from these videos how everybody just flocked around Obama and totally ignored Joe Biden. It's really pathetic. Anyways, if you haven't seen this video, you definitely want to see it, or these two little videos. So without further ado, watch. Isn't that pathetic, what you just saw? That's Joe Biden, though. That's an illustration. Those videos are a perfect illustration of how pathetic he is and how inconsequential he is and how well, even his fellow Democrats, I'm sure those were all Democrats at that gathering, and they just ignored Joe Biden. You see him wandering around like the demented, half-aware, mummified relic that he actually is. And that's being nice, at least for me. But you can see how inconsequential he is, number one, and then from everything I showed you previously in this video, in this vlog, how willing moderates are. I mean, it's not just a realization of how damaging he is to the Democratic brand and to the country, but how willing they are to stand up to him now. And in fact, there's one other event I forgot to mention. There's been talk about somehow passing a smaller version of the Build Back Better Act. Remember that? Well, Kirsten Sinema just shot that down too. She said that's not going to happen. She stood up to him in the past, so that's not any news. But you have these Democrats, at least the moderate Democrats, are willing to stand up to him. And actually you have liberal Democrats too standing up to him, demanding that he somehow demanding that Merrick Garland investigate Donald Trump for January 6th, trying to pin it on him again. But the thing is, that's all they know is impeachment. They want to impeach Clarence Thomas too. Impeachment and, I don't know, climate alarmism, the Green New Deal, whatever. climate change. That's all they're about. And so you have the left now standing up to him on that and demanding that he use executive orders to institute some of these policies. So these far left policies. So you put it all together, and I'm glad I'm not Joe Biden, let's put it that way. And that's it for this week. Thanks as always for stopping by. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions for future topics, there's a comment section below the video. You could share the video with anyone you think would enjoy it. You could subscribe. I love getting new subscribers, but most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see you all again. And until I see you all again, bye.